everyone. We are reading lesson number 8 today, titled Becoming a Citizen. When I'm reading the story today, there are going to be 4 words that we're hunting for. The first vocab word is citizen. That is a person who has rights given to them by a country's government and has responsibilities that go along with this right. The next vocab word is naturalized citizen. This is a person born in another country who earns the same rights as a native citizen of a different country. And the third word is principles. They are general beliefs or rules. And the last vocab word for this lesson is rights. They are freedoms belonging to a person that the government cannot and should not take away. Again, the words are citizen, naturalized citizen, principles, and rights. When I'm reading the story today, if you tap your head, that lets me know that you're catching our vocab words, you're really listening for them, and you're understanding what they mean as I read. I want you guys to listen extra careful today to the read aloud to find out what it means to be a citizen and how immigrants can become citizens of the United States. On the 4th of July in 1976, Americans held the biggest birthday party anyone could remember. That day was the 200th birthday of the United States of America. July 4th, 1976 was exactly 200 years after leaders of the original 13 English colonies agreed to support the Declaration of Independence and start a new nation. 200 years later, people attended concerts and parades, and many fireworks lit up the night sky all across America. I want you guys to be thinking, why do Americans celebrate the 4th of July? Do you remember who wrote the Declaration of Independence? If not, that's okay, but I want you to listen carefully to find out as I read. But for one group of people, a group of immigrants, the day was going to be even more special. In the morning, this group of people woke up and got dressed in their best clothes. They left their homes and traveled to the top of a very special hill not far from Charlottesville, Virginia. It was at the top of this hill that Thomas Jefferson, the author of the Declaration of Independence and the 3rd President of the United States, had built his home 2 centuries earlier. Jefferson's home, as you can see in this picture, is called the Monticello. That morning in 1976, the President of the United States at the time, Gerald Ford, would be there to help each immigrant become a citizen of the United States. A citizen is someone who has rights given to them by a country's government and responsibilities that go along with these rights. A person whose parents are U.S. citizens is automatically a United States citizen, but someone who is born in another country can become a citizen of the United States too. A person who becomes a U.S. citizen after already being a citizen of another country is called a naturalized citizen. So when someone is born in another country, and he or she is given rights there, if they come to the United States and also earn their own rights in the United States, they're called naturalized citizens. To become a naturalized citizen, a person might do certain things, such as live within a new country for a certain period of time, learn to speak the language spoken in that country, and learn about the laws and the history of that new country. Often, naturalized citizens must take a test in their new language about the laws and the history of their new country. To complete the process, there is a special ceremony where a group of immigrants gathers together to take an oath or a swearing to be loyal to their new country. Naturalization ceremonies are held all over the country throughout the year, but the one in Virginia in 1976 was special because President Gerald Ford was going to speak. Usually, the president does not speak at naturalization ceremonies, but because in 1976 marked the 200th birthday of the United States, this ceremony and other ceremonies like it on July 4th and 5th was an exception. That day, husband and wife Jaleel and Layla were ready to become United States citizens. They had come to the United States from Central Africa 6 years earlier. They left because of the troubles in their home country and arrived in the United States with very little money. Once they arrived, they worked very hard to start a new life and make a living. Jaleel delivered pizzas all over the town of Charlottesville, and Layla found a job placing products on the shelves of a grocery store. Jaleel told his wife, "This is America, Layla. If we work hard, we will have an opportunity to have a good life." Now, 6 years after they immigrated, Jaleel was the manager of the pizza restaurant, and he and Layla had a newborn daughter, Nia. On the 5th of July, the three of them drove toward the Jefferson's Hill in Monticello for the naturalization ceremony. There, Layla said, pointing at a highway sign, "Turn there." As Jaleel made the turn, another car followed. In the other car was Enrique and Pilar Gomez and their 4 children. The Gomez family had come to the United States from northern Mexico, first moving to Texas, then later moving to Virginia. Pilar worked at a company that published books, and Enrique taught history at the nearby University of Virginia. The Gomez family had been in the United States for 12 years now. When they first immigrated to the United States, they had thought, "We are Mexican, and we will continue to enjoy our Mexican customs, even though we live and work in America." But now they also wanted to become United States citizens. Enrique remembered the family's discussions that had led to this day. One night 3 years ago, while eating dinner with some friends, Enrique thought, "How can I make a life outside of Mexico and not be a citizen in the new country in which I'm living? How can I teach American history and not become a part of it? I want to vote for the leaders of this country, and I want to make my home here." Their friend, who was born in the United States, encouraged them. He said, "It's quite the process to become a United States citizen, but I know that you can do it." Yes, it was quite a process. First of all, Pilar said, you have to be at least 18 years of age. Then you have to have lived in the United States for at least 5 years. You also have to promise to obey or follow the laws. You have to learn about the United States history and show that you understand how the government works by taking a test. Their friend grinned. Yes, it is helpful to understand how the government works, though it does sometimes seem very complicated. They all laughed. Enrique said, "We don't have to explain every little detail. We just have to know how certain facts about the United States history and basic parts of the United States Constitution, and some facts about how the United States government works." "What about your children?" asked another one of their friends. "If you and Pilar become citizens, do your children become citizens too?" Enrique answered, "Yes, if we become citizens of the United States, our children will be as well. In fact, that's one of the main reasons we want to become naturalized citizens. We want our children to grow up in the United States." So now Enrique and Jaleel, along with their families, gathered in front of the Monticello and joined the crowd on the wide green lawn where the stage had been set up and a band was playing. President Ford and a few other speakers came out, and the president began to speak to the crowd. He began, "I am very proud to welcome all of you as fellow citizens of the United States of America. In 1884, France, as a birthday gift, presented the United States with a statue, the Statue of Liberty in New York Harbor. But you have given us a birthday present beyond price, yourself, your faith, your loyalty, and your love. We thank you and full-heartedly appreciate it." Pointing at Thomas Jefferson's house, President Ford continued, "Jefferson and his fellow leaders set out to create a new kind of nation. Men may be trusted," Jefferson said, "to govern themselves. He and all other patriots who gave us our Declaration and our Constitution studied different kinds of government before they created the United States government. They built an awesome government for millions of people and those still coming from almost everywhere to live. These new Americans brought new pieces of their homes. They left behind a song, a story, a dance, a tool, a seed, a recipe, the name of the place, the rules of the game, a trick of the trade. These additions of traditions and cultures made America unique among other nations, and Americans a new kind of people. So what the president is saying, that people that come to the United States from other countries bring something with them. They bring their traditions, their culture, their customs, and that makes America unique. We're a nation with hundreds of different citizens who have come from all over the world, and they've brought things to share with them. President Ford continued, "To be American is to share in those principles or beliefs and rules in which the Declaration proclaims or states that the Constitution protects." Looking at the audience, Ford said, "You came to us as strangers, and you leave here as citizens, equal in rights and protected by the law, with equal share in the promises of the future." He meant that all citizens had the same opportunities for a good future. So becoming citizens, they're now protected under our government to have equal rights as citizens. Jefferson wrote about the pursuit of happiness. "Our Constitution does not promise that any of us will find happiness, but we are free to try." When the president finished speaking, everyone cheered. Enrique and Pilar hugged one another, and then they hugged their children. Next to them in the crowd, Jaleel and Layla were doing the same. Then Layla turned to hug Pilar, and Enrique turned to hug Jaleel. "Congratulations," they said to one another. "We are now Americans."